October 7th. Everyone is sleeping peacefully in Israel, and all of a sudden, thousands of rockets start pouring in. Air raid sirens start making the alarm. Chaos begins. Hamas achieves the target, but at a daring cost. Israel retaliates brutally, and the conflict attracts global attention. Once again, the world gets more polarized on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Countries start taking a position of this war that has cost tens of thousands of lives and still continues. Amidst this, Turkey dropped a bombshell on Israel and the US over the Palestine conflict through its statement. Recently, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan surprised the international media by calling out Israel as a terror state for war crimes in Gaza. Not only this, Erdogan slammed the US and the West for their continued military support for Israel. Now the question arises as to why Turkey would hold such a bold stance concerning Palestine while going fully counter-clockwise against the defense alliance NATO. Let's find out with a brief tour of some historical background. Simply put, Palestine holds the most crucial holy site that is sacred to three religions: Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. Therefore, Jerusalem holds historical and religious significance for all three religions. After World War II, Jews were in desperate need of a separate and sovereign homeland. Their aspirations were fulfilled in 1948 when the UN General Assembly agreed on a plan to partition the desired territory into two independent states, one Muslim and the other Jewish. Jewish leaders accepted the plan and acquired 56% of the land of the Palestinian territory. However, the Arabs didn't accept this proposal. For many Arabs, the rise of a Jewish state right under their nose was threatening. Not only this, it was a slap on the face of powerful Arab countries to fall to the demands of a small Jewish country, Israel. That is the reason many Arab states were angry over the division of territory by the UN. For Arabs, it was solely the territory of Palestinians and their right to the sacred city of Jerusalem. So a long, bloody war broke out between some Arab nations and the newly formed Jewish state, Israel. In the war that followed, almost 700,000 Palestinians fled and mostly took refuge in Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, while some of them ended up in Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the West Bank. But the conflict didn't end there. There were many minor and major escalations along the way between Arabs and Israel. An interesting event took place in 2005 when Hamas won the parliamentary elections in Palestine. Hamas made full use of its power in government and started many flare-ups of fighting in Gaza. These escalations took place in 2006, 2008, 2012, 2014, and 2021. But as the Israel-Palestine conflict took worse turns from 1947-2021, however, several diplomatic channels have been used to resolve this territorial dispute. But it seems the perspective of either side doesn't matter that much until a superpower backs one of them. That's where the role of the US comes in. The bilateral relations between the US and Israel aren't hidden from anyone. These relations go way beyond the military aid to Israel, and the moral support from the US at every international forum has cemented Israel's place on the globe. According to a Wall Street Journal report, since World War II, the US provided more foreign aid to Israel than any other foreign country. The US provides roughly $3.8 billion in aid to Israel every year. US Senator Bernie Sanders quoted Israel's aggression in Palestine by saying, "What is going on in Israel right now is being done significantly with the US military aid." After Hamas attacked Israel in October 2023, US President Joe Biden promised rock-solid and unwavering support to its closest ally in the Middle East. US ordered the movement of military ships and aircraft close to Israel as a show of support. Also, US has sent its most advanced and one of the largest Navy aircraft carriers, USS Ford. Moreover, in terms of air support, the US has provided the F-35 to Israel, the most advanced fighter jet in the world. It's quite shocking regarding the type of relentless support to Israel by the US. That's because the US has strategic interests in the Middle East, and Israel is the only one to fulfill Washington's interests in the region. But regardless of Israel's cruelty against Palestine, there are few countries who stood up to challenge the human rights violations in Palestine. One of those is Turkey. Turkey has repeatedly urged the US and the EU to work for a ceasefire and act against Israel's war crimes in Gaza. However, it seems not enough steps were taken to resolve this issue. On a lighter note, the situation was not that bad a few months ago between the US and the NATO member countries, especially Turkey. For decades, Turkey has aligned itself with the common goal of NATO and the shared interests of the Western Alliance. But things took a turn after a war broke out between Israel and Hamas in October 2023. Within weeks of the war in Gaza, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan stated that Israel should be punished for its war crimes in Gaza. Also, Erdogan cited Israel's aggression in Palestine as the most treacherous attack in human history. Erdogan lamented the U.S. support to Israel. That means the ever-increasing support of the U.S. for Israel is gonna blow up in its face. In his address to Parliament, he stated that bombardment in Gaza shows that Israel has openly employed state terrorism. He quoted his words saying, "I am now saying with my heart at ease that Israel is a terrorist state." Moreover, Erdogan talked with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and asked for Rome's support to de-escalate tensions in Gaza. He also labeled the war in Gaza as a matter of cross and crescent. In the same way, former President of Turkey Abdullah Gül shed light on the double standards of Israel and the US. He made a comparative analysis of the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza. In a discussion last year, Gül claimed that the US talks about territorial integrity, human rights, and violation of international law when it comes to war in Ukraine. On the contrary, when Israel is killing a mass population in Gaza, then it's all okay with the West, and the US takes its veto for a ceasefire. Turkey not only fought its war on diplomatic fronts, but also adopted measures to halt trade with Israel. Soon after the war, Turkey banned the export of 54 products including aluminium, steel, jet fuel, and other construction products to Israel with immediate effect. These measures were taken after Israel stopped cargo planes of humanitarian aid from Turkey to Gaza. Later on, the Turkish foreign minister discussed that there would be no further talks until Israel agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza. So according to some experts, this foreign policy shift has leveraged Turkey overall. Some figures claim that Israel imports almost 70% of iron construction materials and cement from Turkey. Not only this, Turkey has remained one of the steel providers to Israel for some years now. That means Israel is heavily dependent on imports from Turkey. But Israel's ongoing expedition in Gaza may endanger its economic stability in the long run. So in the context of what we discussed, it is evident that Turkey has put a nail in the coffin in the Israel-US relations. For that reason, Turkey has already questioned the full-fledged support of the US in the military adventures of Israel in Palestine. For the world, the US is a staunch supporter of liberal democracy and freedom. However, in Israel's case, its foreign policy doesn't appear to shift, although Turkey has exposed the propaganda of the US and Israel's nexus and their war crimes in Gaza. This is the stark reality of today's world order and the hypocrisy of powerful countries in any crisis or war. What are your thoughts about it? Do you think this will impact the whole geopolitical scenario shortly? Let us know in the comments section. For more such videos and hot topics, check out our next video and don't forget to subscribe.